Hello, everyone, and welcome to this module in week 7 now. So I hope you guys have enjoyed all the content till week 6 and now in week 7, should I say. So it is almost the end of your journey. Well, not the end of your journey, my bad. I would say the end of the adventure. In that sense, you've got one more week of lots of knowledge in the lit madness, should I say. However, this is really only the start of your journey, so that's key to remember. From week 8, you really just then need to apply everything and consistently do it. And most importantly, and this is key, and you should know this, is be patient. That is the biggest thing, in my opinion, is you need to be patient and not get frustrated if you're not understanding something one day and then the next day makes sense. Eventually, it will make sense overall. And with that, what's most important is you're not going to find the clearest entry maybe on one pair one day. However, if you look at another pair, it will be much clearer. And there's always at least one pair or one entry, should I say, every single day on one of the 6 traded lit pairs that is a Mona Lisa pair. And that's why I do the BOD series. Like every day I can do it technically. However, I have been working on the adventure a little bit, so you have got at least, I believe, half of August in there as well. So I hope you guys enjoy this module. I will be covering, you can see it on the screen already, it's Euro GBP. So if we get straight into it, we have Asia session as always. And most importantly, we have to mark up liquidity. So if we get our lines ready, we can already see Asia high is going to be liquidity, so is Asia low. Now, in this case, Asia low looks very likely it's going to be taken out as we have one more candle that will be the decider candle if it goes low or high first. In this case, the chances are we induce low and then possibly go higher. And the reason we go higher is, again, there's pretty clear liquidity here. You have the most perfect trap over here. You have yesterday's high. So I'm just going to mark it up as yesterday's high. Yesterday's high. You have your smart money trap. Again, it's no significance. That's why we don't choose zones like such. It's not really significant. Again, look at the timing at the bottom. It's past 8 o'clock UTC +2. So, of course, this isn't really that valid in that sense. Like it did mitigate this over here, but again, end of day liquidity, it's not really going to hold in most cases. Now, again, another thing to mention here is if we look at the previous day, it was a really nice retail heaven. Okay, fair enough. It's lovely, whatever. But the only thing that I'm not convinced with personally is the way this inducement has held. So it is an inducement of yesterday's price action. So we can see, get our little arrow out to make it a little bit more visual. We can see it is an inducement. Don't get it wrong, and that is a mitigation. Just timing's not in play. If we look at the higher time frame, we can see what did we actually come from. So I'm just gonna actually get a long horizontal line and mark it up at the same point, just so I know where we've reacted, if we've reacted to anything significant. Okay. Okay, so in this case, I wouldn't say it's significant. It did take out this high over here on this day, which likely happened in London, I believe. Or Frankfurt, my bad, Frankfurt. But it's not something crazy. When you look at 1H, it's not crazy in the sense, like it's not a significant inducement. It is medium liquidity when you look at it from this crazy retail heaven, taking out all of this liquidity, and then this high over here. So it is medium. It's just not crazy valid. Okay, I just need to manage a position quick. This is Speckle. Currently, I'm actually trading Euro GBP today. But I need to manage it on my phone currently. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. So if we get back into it, let's just go on 4H because 1H isn't looking crazy clean in my opinion. Again, Asia range doesn't show. I think that's probably on my settings with the visibility. Do I need to do 4 hours? I'm not aware of this. Actually, I'm not so... Okay, that didn't work. Okay, just ignore that. Pretend I didn't do anything there. I'm not sure how to bring it up on 4H or if it's even programmed to do that. But anyways, we can already see there's more liquidity here. Now I think on 1H I saw it better, so I'm gonna have to go on 1H. But you can see Asia high here was not induced. It's in a close range, so this was yesterday's high. However, the chances are we can go a little higher. I don't think crazy high in one day, but we have got even this Asia high target over here, and that lines up with this POI. Now the POI, I would take this candle over there. The reason I take that, I like taking the most bullish looking candle. And let's just see where 4H lines up and if we can adjust. Okay, that's perfect. If you see 4H lines up perfectly with the open of that candle. So I would target within this zone right here. So we can already see that that point does indeed line up. Okay, I think I'm going crazy. My line just... Did I delete that? Okay. I think I accidentally deleted that on my... I know what happened. Okay, my bad. I was just monitoring actually my pair on my phone on TradingView, and I actually deleted the line just now, like an idiot. So I could just smooth out. Don't even know what that is. Okay. Oh my God. I know what I've done. Okay, I'm currently live monitoring trading, whatever. That so some of my drawings are kind of in the way, should I say? But let's just ignore that. But as we can see, we've got a 4H POI. We'll just go back to it on the 1H. It did line up very nicely with this bullish candle. Again, I'm not really looking at it as a POI for sells, again, because it's dependent on timing. So we are actually trending bullish a little bit, so we could potentially reach this POI. I'm just going to write it as target. When I say POI, again, what I mean is a target POI in the sense price could react around there. Maybe it gives hesitation. Either way, we want to capitalize to the most we actually can. So that's why we would TP there. And if sells present with the entire lit cycle and checklist in place that you should be using, then of course, why not take sells? I'm not so keen on the area myself for like sells, to be fair. Intraday, it could play out very nicely if there's also a liquidity target to the downside. So of course, trend lines, your support, resistance, breakout traders, smart money traps. So all of those liquidity targets, if they come in play. However, for now, we will target the trading into the inducement. So we're trading into the inducement areas right now. So let's go back on 1H, or should I go back on 15M? We can get Asia back in our range. So see 15M. Target-wise for liquidity on 15M, not really seeing anything too crazy below Asia when it comes to liquidity. So usually when there's a retail heaven, what likely happens is price either continues to a target. Right now we're approaching a target. It's not far in range, so it's actually a pretty close target when it comes for an intraday play. So the chances are when we induce low to go high, there usually isn't crazy liquidity because price has trended like crazy here. Get really nice cycle in London over here. Of course, New York continuation. Liquidity has formed in Asia. So this likely is a very, very clear cycle. If we go on 5M, let's see what price shows. So we've got our liquidity that we marked up to the downside that likely will be taken out basically now. Once we exit out of Asia or maybe in Frankfurt, I'm pretty sure it will just troop bearish because that candle is pretty bearish at this point. So we likely induce low. We just mark up every liquidity aspect, those lows over there. Of course, Asia high. Probably not worth marking because we have a smart money trap in between, which I forgot to actually type in. And we have yesterday's high. Again, it's not an inducement I like to trade away from, especially if we have got a much clearer target, especially for smart money traders that will get into this area like such. And we did have this previous Asia high from, I think, a month ago, or no, 2 months ago now, as we are almost entering September. So let's see what price does. Okay, so we have actually got these areas like such here. I The only thing is I don't really like choosing. Now, I'm someone I don't really like randomly choosing POIs like to the left kind of thing, especially if we have two. You know what I mean? Like here, I wouldn't take that high over there, but if you take an imbalance over here, or if you take this, would be your better bet, if that makes sense. Would be your better choice. I'm just not the biggest fan. I like to just wait and then wait for the inducement and then see what happens after to identify if the inducement's complete. But you could likely experience maybe a smart money trap or even worse, an FFS if you just blindly take these. So I'm not going to mark them up for any reason whatsoever. I'm just going to wait for price to do its thing. If I see a reaction, then I will mark up, okay, has it reacted in a way that makes sense or has it not? So I am going to stay on 5M at this point because 1M, there's absolutely nothing I'm interested in even wanting to delve on the 1M. It just doesn't make sense. Now, using this new replay mode is a little weird, in my opinion. Okay. I probably will mess up replay mode because I'm not good with this new interface. Okay, so yes, we've induced low, perfect. Is the inducement complete? We're not going to guess, so ooh, that looks interesting. Okay, that is a candle. That's not a magic manipulation minutes wick. That always confuses me. I should change my colors, but I do like keeping the original. So price has came very low to that. You probably would have been taken out if you were a smart money trader, even just by spread. Or you probably don't even get to have it. No, I'm not. Yeah, again, I'm gonna wait. I'm not interested in that at all. I really don't like the way price tapped in, not so nice. But maybe now we can check a 1M if there is a 1M. No, that's very messy. You can already see it's not really clear. There's no clear 1M like this one maybe, but I'm not keen on just choosing those as mentioned. So let's see. Okay, so price taps the next area. Oh, okay, that was a very, very quick move. That was a, I would say that's both like a smart money trap and an FFS. That was very like interesting, should I say? So that would be like your smart money trap there, but then it get choop like an FFS. But nevertheless, these zones are crossed out anyways, and that's why I don't like looking at them because it's kind of, I would say a 50-50 chance when they do react. And that's why I don't like doing it. So let's see what price does. Almost heading into London Open. So you could say Frankfurt was your inducement low. Now this induced with pretty heavy speed at this point. It was trending bearish like from the whole day of yesterday's high all the way down. It's not really made anything significant to the upside. And that's why I like it because we've actually got a nice liquidity target to the high. We've got liquidity, we've got smart money trap liquidity, Asia high liquidity, yesterday's high. We have that Asia high from the previous like 2 months, I believe. And then we have our target zone over here. And it's in a pretty nice proximity, I would say. Get rid of that line actually right now. Now it's just a matter of, well, where's our entries going to be? So we're going to wait for London and see what London does. Maybe we can take the buys into then the inducement. That will be ideal. However, we're just going to wait and see what price does. I'm going on the 1M to, again, gear ourselves up for potential buys and finding the entry. So let's see what price does. Okay, London's currently not showing me something I like. I don't like zones like this, if we mark it up like that. I'm not a fan of that because it's not confirmed. That's a very risky move if it does sustain. If it doesn't sustain, then in your favor if you don't take it because you shouldn't really be taking zones like such. So let's just continue to wait and see if price does present an opportunity. Liquidity has been taken in the smart money trap form tips over here, as well as the lows. There's nothing really else. So this is why I'm happy to then look for buys at this point. Just would wait for a clearer movement in this sense. So let's see what price does. Okay, so we do potentially have this mitigation of the imbalance zone right there. So this area. Entry helper could be a let in the moment. So that is a possibility. We get these breaks of structures or relevant breaks of structures, whatever you want to call it. And then we must wait and see if price does come back. But that's a very nice zone. I do like it a lot. It's just a matter of if price does come back. If not, then I probably would need to adapt my analysis to another POI. And that's very common, especially in continuation trades where there's no really clear extreme. So you kind of want to, yeah, like choose a POI that then makes sense when the extreme is no longer, I would say, valid for the continuation. So, okay, price, ooh, that could work. Let's just be patient. Okay, that's interesting. So that's actually pretty close, but not close enough. I would prefer if it comes lower, but nevertheless, it could actually sustain. Okay, so it's actually taken out this liquidity here in Asia and the hour after Asia, as well as the trend line. So okay. It's going in the direction I want. It's just not presented, or should I say tapped, the entry that I actually wanted. Okay, so in this case, I'm not. Now, this is actually an example where I probably would need to adapt to something like over here. I'm just not really liking price action of a mitigation, but let's see what price does. Now, the only thing I'm very wary of is we're close to Asia high. And at this point, liquidity has been taken a lot. So I'm just going to speed it up. If it taps in, perfect. If not, then we're going to have to change things a little. Okay, it's not as clear. Did not tap in. It's technically induced Asia high. Now, what is this? Now we can identify what's happening here. Let's get our little box out of price action right there. How do I do this nicely? Let's get the zoom pen. And you get price action or liquidity, right? And we have two variations of this, and I'm sure you know what they are. So we have a variation where price does, let me do the opposite one first of what's happening right now. So you get price do something like this. Right, it goes like that, and like this, like that, and it just does something like that. Now, I hope that looks very clear for you to understand what. Oh, that's not good. I wish I could move that, but what is this? I'm sure you should be aware of what that is. That is, of course, the Asia whipsaw. That is case 2, where price just trends randomly in the day. Now, in this case, we can't really guess what's happening. However, we have indeed got the characteristics of the inducement low, like such over here, and the inducement high with literally no entry opportunities. That was an entry opportunity, but otherwise, this isn't an entry opportunity. I know it looks nice, but the reality is it's not an entry opportunity. So in this case, we've had the characteristics of that first stage of the whipsaw. Now, the next stage is the matter of, well, we're not sure if it's going to range or if it's going to do the other case. Now, I'll draw the other case in a minute. But what we can expect is now, upon the reversal, I'm not interested in this smart money trap over here, nor am I interested in this mitigation now. So I expect this low to be taken out like such. So if we mark up case 2, let me just remove everything here. Clear everything, as well as these bits and bobs over here. Now, this is pretty annoying, actually. In the meantime, I'm sure you have got the memory of the whipsaws. They're really important, I would say. Like, I think they're underestimated in what they are, because you probably don't expect them to occur much. But once you understand them, they're really useful to your advantage. Now, case 2, on the other hand, is slightly different. I would say they're both very good, because case 2, as you saw just there, which was the up and down continuously, you can actually trade a lot of intraday. Now, your targets are shorter, but you can have more trades. Now, in this case, however, I think it's better if you're a beginner, and for anyone actually, is when you have something like this. I know I've drawn very typical liquidity there. Of course, it doesn't look like that all the time. But in the case of the whipsaw, what we actually have is where price, again, troops low, whatever, kind of does it more straight, but let's just say it trooped straight with aggression, and then price troops higher, right? And then it continues completely for the rest of the day. Kind of something like that price can also do. And again, the same concept. We have the same characteristics of the whipsaw. It's just the rest of the day we can't predict, right? So we have that. We have that. So we've induced Asia high and low. Now we're expecting, well, I would expect, again, we have a target to the high side. Now I'm not going to change the screen as everything moves, but we have that 4H POI. So in my understanding in this case, it will be slightly the opposite, where we induce that low, like such, and hopefully we now induce high, because this is where you should understand from the Asia whipsaw characteristics, we don't take these buys, because there was no entry, and at the same time, it's a whipsaw, so price likely will continue bearish to even take that out by a slight few pips, maybe. Again, I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to wait to see what happens. And then hopefully our buys present in this leg, if it decides to create a leg, and we continue higher. That becomes a trap if that remains like such. Now, I hope that makes sense in your understanding. I would highly recommend that you actually mark up illustrations. It's not that hard. You can even do it on TradingView, maybe print it out or have them on hand. It's so key to remember how the characteristics look of the whipsaws. But however, it's a whipsaw regardless, but just not sure of the case. Now, this is interesting because it changes things, of course, so I would now mark that as whatever, 1M. Oh, cannot type properly. Smart money trap. Again, you know what? I actually would not do that because there's a trap there too, so the whole thing's like not relevant to even mark if there's traps everywhere in this leg. But either way, we target this, I would say London Open, even though it's 5 minutes before target. The low. And then from there, we then, of course, will hopefully identify the buys that we were waiting for from the beginning. Now, I'm going to go 1M. Okay, so we're going to continue with the price section and just wait to see what price has done. Okay, it's kind of looking like it's going to mitigate. Again, I'm not interested in that, again, for the same reason, where we have this, yeah, you could say some mitigation. It looks lovely, even though it went very high. Could have taken you out by spread. It's the same concept as we marked up here. It's very not confirmed, should I say? Oh, that was not proper English, but it's not very confirmed to take that. There's no there's not really like anything to just guess off. And that's where you would take a lot of losses if you try guessing that. Just don't do it. Just be patient. You'll get a lot of clear entries if you just be patient and consistency. So in this case, I would rather then possibly take, well, maybe this area now, because that's a clear zone to me. And it's more confirmed in the sense, well, we've kind of waited a little bit. I'm not going to take that initial troop up if it's not really, like, it's not really reacted like anything. The only other thing as well is we are approaching MM1. So in a couple of minutes, around, let's get the marker up so we actually have a range view kind of thing. So we have a couple of minutes till this MM1, so the chances are we could actually mitigate in MM1 or around the window of MM1, and that's a great, again, confidence for the mitigation. So we have our mitigation in MM1, hopefully. If not, then great. There's not much to say about that, but it's fine. So we have a potential mitigation. There's nothing on the entry hopper, unfortunately, in this case. So I'm not going to really consider that. Again, it's not always necessary. It's a final thing. So, okay. Oh, this is actually very interesting. We're 2 minutes off. We are kind of approaching it. If we do, that'll be lovely. Oh, so we did approach it. I know it looks ever so slightly by whatever this micro pip looking thing off, but you probably would have got in. Chances are you would get in based on spread. You have to factor that in when it comes to your entry anyways. So the chances are you get into this lovely, not to the minute, but MM1 mitigation, which is lovely. So you get that reversal play into your prime target over here, and that looks like a very reasonable amount of price action, or should I say profitability in this case. So you got a very nice TP, a very nice zone. Now, should we have a guess what the risk reward is? I'm just going to guess randomly. Maybe 11 to 1. Oh, we're approaching 11 to 1 now. So 14 to 1, I'm going to guess. Oh, I'm actually really close. I randomly guessed that around a 13 to 1. I just like to put it a little bit lower in this case, but not at the point because then it's equal lows. So just a little bit. So maybe it's a 14 to 1 then. That was a blind guess, but my maths are good, I guess, kind of. Don't quote me on that, actually. I don't think I'm amazing, but okay. So now target is the low. I'm not even going to wait any further to think of, yeah, what happens to this side. And you can already see that. That looks incredible. That's really nice price action. Just going to keep chooping. Okay, so let's see what price does. Okay, it's perfect. Take off your profits at this point, close your positions, and you should be good to go. So now I'm still interested in buys, as mentioned. I'm just not seeing anything yet. We're going to wait for the opportunity to present. And let's just see what price does. This is why I don't like taking that random mitigation. You are very close to that. It's not my favorite, so in this case, we can again target there. We can target this mitigation over here, like such. Possibly a let. Maybe if we switch to 5M, it helps. It's a 5M POI2, so it's a timing confirmed trade in the set. Well, not timing, should I say? A multiple time frame confirmed trade. So we have 5M and 1M align. I'm not sure about the 5M let because it's very close range in the anti-harper, but very far apart in price action. So I'm gonna just speed it up a little bit. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, this is weird because it looks like our let has kind of formed in this stage, but off entry. Maybe it's a 15M thing. Okay, it's not very clean, but it looks like we've got a 5M let. Just going to speed up one more just to see how that forms. Okay, that forms pretty well, actually. It's just not mitigated the points I wanted. However, okay. Okay, so in this case, it hasn't formed the way I wanted in that sense where the let is this. But the chances are we can, of course, take the mitigation off the let, and that will be now the 5M. So we would have to then change our analysis ever so slightly and take that, your imbalance off the 5M, 5M let, and that lines up perfectly with this last candle. Or if you want to take that little imbalance alongside, we have either way a mitigation of 5M let. So that's nice to see. Timing, again, we are probably close to another timing element here, which is MM2. Could be close. I don't know how close it is. If it starts falling now, then it's not specifically MM2, it's almost MM2 then. But we have our targets higher up, and that looks like a juicy trade if it occurs. So let's see. And what's nice here, look what's happening. We're getting that liquidity that we want to then, of course, trade away from. So we don't want to take sells, we want to take buys. Of course, smart money traders will take that mitigation there and expect sells, and that's why it's creating then equal highs at the same time. So interesting stuff. Okay, that's a nice mitigation, or imbalance fill in this case. Stream doesn't look like it's going to play out, but we've got a very nice 5M let. Okay, just have to look at it for a little bit myself. Okay, so okay, we probably have a chance of. Ooh, where are we right now? We're 8 minutes off, so I don't think it's going to be a 2-minute thing, but I think it's going to be in the window. So that's very okay. We just passed MM. M2. Okay. So technically it is magic manipulation minutes 2. It's just not to the minute, unfortunately, but it is to the time window of MMM2, and you can see how gorgeous that is, where it's just amazing. Like, I don't even know what to say when it comes to timing. Like, look, we have MMM1 over here, work perfectly. MM2 looks again like another mitigation in our direction off the 5M let, taken out liquidity already. We only have our liquidity targets high now in the intraday basis. So in this case, it's actually really, really nice. So I'm gonna just see how price does react if it sustains. Again, if you've noticed, I didn't like over refine that by taking just that zone or vice versa, taking that zone. I'd rather just take this whole candle here to the left, which is that last bearish candle. I like doing that personally. And it just makes more sense because either way your stop loss has to be below the low, so it's better you just actually aim to target getting in, should I say. Let's remove MMM2 line over there. And wow, actually didn't notice that. That looks like another let. That looks incredible. Wow. So, I mean, that looks like a better let, but this is a let in itself of 5M. Wow. Okay, that's very nice. Again, worked in our favor anyways of what we were targeting. So let's see. Okay, we have a lot of liquidity. Again, I'm not really interested. Maybe we can find a continuation trade here. Just, yeah, price action's not looking lovely in this leg for continuation. That's fine. But what we do get is this gorgeous liquidity. We can mark it like that a little bit, but we get liquidity either way. So let's see what price shows us. Okay, it's coming back bearish. Move that a little bit. Okay. 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 That looks like a really nice let. I'm not interested in it being the let off whatever the hell that is. That's nothing like special or something to be like amazed about. But I think okay, this could make a lot of sense with the relevant break spot structure in that sense. So we've taken out this, creating these new, I don't want to say highs because I don't like using that, but we basically now are still continuing to form bullish movement, should I say. We have the let. We could take the mitigation off the let for a continuation trade. It's not time and confirm, it's the only thing. So if you're really desperate and you've missed this trade here, which is a really juicy one, then you can potentially take this one. I can see your risk to reward thing over here is probably much better. That's fine. It's a 1, 2, 3. Again, you're gonna be realistic. Let's just say to tag in. Let's just say round it up a little bit. Whatever like that. Factoring spread as well, and you don't really want to take 1 pip stop losses. That's not very smart. It looks amazing, but it's not very smart. But nevertheless, this one's a little bit bigger. It's a 4.3 pip stop loss. Target wise, looks juicy for both. This one's not amazing, but that's a 14 to 1, similar to the sells we had. And this one is a 27 to 1. That's freaking incredible. Like, what else can you say? That's a 27 to 1 in combination of both of them. You have 14 plus 27. That makes a 41 to 2 risk to reward on your buys here. So that's pretty impressive. I don't know what to say myself, but it becomes pretty normal at this point to experience that. And that is when I've created a stop loss that would make sense factoring spread, not the actuality of the logistics here are probably way higher actually. So let's see what price does. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. That is actually perfect. The way that looks scary, I'll be honest, but that's perfect the way it it just went. Yeah, those candles are crazy actually. That's good for us when you take the buy. You only have to experience 1 crazy bearish candle, and things look really good right now. So then you can mark up liquidity again, of course, and it's the same story again and again. And now let's just see how price does sustain. Okay, it's a little choppy. Okay. A little bit choppy. I'm gonna go 5M, just speed things up, see what price does. Does it reverse on us? Does it continue? Because at this point it's not really doing anything crazy for me to be interested in. We've got really nice buys. Ideally, your first buy is like Mona Lisa, even the sells. So like you can't complain that you catch every move when you catch the main moves. Why would you need to catch every move in between and be a retail trader and just randomly execute buys? Especially on retail heavens like that. Like the amount of people that would just put a buy somewhere and stop loss like crazy, like 20, 30 pips. We don't need to do that on the other hand, so you can take the prime entries. Okay, formed a new high in that sense. We are approaching New York trap. Now, a new trap, what do I expect? Continuation. Now, if price does present another entry of a continuation, a bit like this one here, which was that mitigation of the 1M let, then lovely. But at this point, I'm going to speed it a little bit to see if it does present something significant. And it looks like it's mitigated off the Asia high bounce there. Okay, that's nice. Again, I'm just not crazy interested in that, but again, if you miss it, why not? Now, I don't like it because 1M doesn't look lovely. 5M, on the other hand, looks pretty lovely. So, could take a Asia high bounce, 5M mitigation, New York open, kind of. My bad, you're 10 minutes off, but I would still classify it in the New York open window. And then we could get a continuation. So, let's see what price does. Okay. Ooh, that was our target of the previous Asia high liquidity, if you remember, to the left, like 2 months ago. So that would be like a TP1. However, upon that, you're very close to this crazy mitigation area on 1H and 4H. And the chances are you will tap into that. So, okay. Okay, lovely. We are almost there. So you could close at this point. No, it's getting a little bit wicky. We are almost approaching London close 2 in 5 minutes, so why not close? Maybe get some hesitation at this point. Chances are the rest of the move will be very low volatility and just pointless to hold. And we're not swing traders because of that reason, because London close is not likely going to do anything significant. Lovely. Actually looks perfect. Let's just forward it up a little bit to see what London close. Okay, price is likely going to mess around a little bit more. Play around in that 1H, 4H zone. Remember, like I said, it's probably just going to mess around in there. At this point, it's late in the day, so I wouldn't even classify it as a valid quote unquote mitigation because it's now end of day. Maybe next day Asia, maybe we get the same scenario, like we get an Asia range that builds off it. So we maybe sustain that. Again, this is just like an example of how to understand this. And then that's all liquidity. Price can continue higher, take out the zone, maybe then reverse. So that's the understanding aspect of it. I hope you guys did understand what I was saying and how you can trade the main pushes. You really don't need to be trading everything. Like I promise you, this is far, far nicer, especially for your psychology. Taking trades like this are like perfect. You really don't need anything else. You get your sells, your buys, 2 buy entries over there. They're perfect. And it's an Asia whipsaw, which you could say looks terrifying for most people. When you look at the illustrations, that looks like what on earth is that? How do you trade that? But of course, with us with lit, the Asia whipsaws are actually perfect for us because it gives us prime entries that literally no other retail trader or person can trade effectively. They'll just make up stuff and just guess and mess it up pretty bad. So that is it from this segment of the adventure. I hope you guys did enjoy that.